Hello again. One of the problems with modern Britain is that we are constantly expected to accept as true things which are obviously false. Or if we don't actually accept them, then at least keep our mouths shut about them. It is therefore considered progressive and kind to pretend that there is no immigration crisis, and also that men wearing pretty frocks and calling themselves Angelique or Blossom are, despite all the evidence to the contrary, real women. I have remarked before that I do not care in the least what a man wears, what name he wishes to be known by. If some guy wants to wear a skirt and change his name to Mary, that's fine. It's none of my business. That does not mean, though, that I am deceived by the imposture and no longer realise that he is in fact a man. My courtesy and tolerance extend only so far. J.K. Rowling has spoken out recently about the fact that Glamour magazine's selection of outstanding women include 9 men. She has, predictably, been criticised for this. Somebody recently sent me the details of what is described as a queer cabaret being performed at the South Bank Centre in London. And in the description to this video, I give a link to news of this event, which looks like something from the worst excesses of the Weimar Republic. I give a link to a piece too about one of those taking part, a man who claims to be a woman. This, to me, sheds a light on the difficulty I and many others have in pretending that men dressed in pretty clothes are really, in any sense at all, women. Real women do sometimes dress up in very feminine clothes, stiletto heels and so on, and put on lots of heavy makeup. Few of them, though, see this as defining them. That is to say that looking that way is who they actually are. For most women, being a woman has more to do with doing the washing up, cleaning stuff in the house, changing their baby's nappy, doing shopping, gardening, and going off to work. Dressing up elaborately is a minor part of their identity. For men who pretend to be women, though, it is the clothes, makeup, and so on which form their primary identity as women. Real women might do the gardening wearing a pair of old jeans and perhaps one of their husband's worn out sweaters, and then pop out to the shops with earth still under their fingernails. This is not something that any trans woman would be caught dead doing. My dear, too shaming. The reason for this is that what we know as trans women, those men who adopt a full-time persona as a woman, are actually men with a fetish for women's clothes. That's fine by me. Again, I am happy for people to have whatever hobbies they wish. Some of these men, though, have a rather sleazy aspect to the business in that their persona is not that of a grown woman, but rather a schoolgirl. This causes me to raise my eyebrows and perhaps shake my head. Take the man who will be starring at that cabaret over at the South Bank Centre, for instance. He calls himself Princess Zizi. Right there is something odd because I have never in my life known any female over the age of 12 who would describe herself as princess. The connotations are not really favourable for grown women, are they? What is even more disturbing, though, is that this man's chosen persona involves wearing white frocks, hair ribbons, and frilly white knee socks. You can see him in the thumbnail to this video. Tell me that a man dressing up in that way and calling himself princess is not role-playing as a schoolgirl. Can any viewers imagine any adult woman dressing in that way? It is a man's fantasy costume. An awful lot of so-called trans women have similar kinks, and frankly, I find it a little alarming. It seems to me that for many of them, their real thing is cosplaying as schoolgirls, rather than genuinely believing that they are adult women. Pointing this out is not transphobia, it is simply telling it like it is.